So I want to start with my story, because I think it's obviously shows what those things what I'm about to talk today working. At least they worked for me. Of course, I would be very glad if some of you will pick them up and maybe implement in your life, and they would also help you to change it. And I want to start with what I've been and what I have done to change. So as I remember myself, I used to work all the time, and the only thing what I was doing is just working, and that's the only thing I knew how to do. And I was trying different things. Like this particular pictures here is from US. I worked in a restaurant, and I started in this restaurant as a dishwasher, and then I became the head chef of this restaurant. It also, by the way, proved that hard work works. Even if in not your field, you can succeed and you can be on top. That's what I did there, but I did it through the hard work and not thinking of anything but work. So what happened while I was doing that, I was kind of succeeding in my career, basically get into the head chef position from the dishwasher position. But what did it take it to me is basically I was working like easily 6 months in a row with not single day off, 16 hours a day. Like it's like complete truth. I didn't go for sports. I ate a lot of unhealthy food. Though I was working in a restaurant, I had all the different products available to me. I could eat salmon, I could eat tuna, I could eat perfectly healthy food, but I would choose specifically unhealthiest food we had in the kitchen. These were my decisions, what I made. And I got overweight. I had pretty poor health and high blood pressure. I had some kind of heart accident. I would easily fall down in the kitchen for like a minute and lose my consciousness. And then the doctor said it was just because of my heart, because I was not that healthy. Not healthy at all, I would even say. So next thing, I was comparing myself to real Americans. I was kind of trying to compete with them. And I came back to Latvia, and in Latvia I worked the same. Kind of lost a lot of weight as well, but I was kind of pushing myself to the limits. Whether I would be overweight, whether I would be too skinny. Like in this picture, I had like 67 kilograms. It was constant burn downs, pretty depressing times. But at work, I was succeeding still. I was completely emotionally unstable. Like the smallest thing what could happen, it would just rise rage in me. I would be super pissed and stuff like that. I had like super high stress levels without even caffeine. The stress levels was like outrageous, and then I would stress of everything. I would be super anxious. And of course, poor family life, too little times with the friends. I would not spend time with the family. I would just go and work all the weekends and those same 16 hours in the weekend. And generally, I became kind of unhappy, unhealthy human being without kind of sense of harmony, and not really believing in myself. That's what was actually happening and kind of going through my mind, and kind of desperate and ready to quit because I thought it's a vicious cycle. I cannot get enough time for anything. I have only time for work, and at work I don't have enough time to do all the things what I want to do. So through that time, that it was the hardest part of my life, I was kind of asking those questions for myself. These questions were obvious, but I'm happy I get to that point to ask them to myself, did I do anything else but work? Of course, the answer was no. Do I have time for anything else but work? Of course, no. I didn't have time for nothing. Did I work too many hours? Obviously. Did I achieve a lot? Not really. Well, kind of did, but again, with in the field which later on I understood I was not supposed to be in. Again, pretty poor decisions, I would say. The same as with health. What could I do different? Probably a lot, but at the same time was like, well, I don't know where to start. So what I wanted is, obviously, which we probably all want, is more time. I wanted more time. I wanted to do more overall, and I wanted to do more at work. I wanted to spend more time with my family, obviously. I wanted to go for sports. I wanted to earn more, to work less. I wanted to have basically more freedom. But still wanted all that. I was afraid to change something, right? It was a huge fear because I still thought, with all that, well, it's still good. It's probably good. I have probably a lot to lose. If I'm going to start changing now, I'm going to lose it all. What I was afraid to lose, I don't know. I didn't really have much. But again, our mind's working like that. They stick to something, and you just keep going with this vicious cycle, and you cannot get out of it. So I didn't believe it's possible to change something, or maybe I didn't know where to start. So there was, as I said, vicious cycle, not having enough time, like chronic lack of time. Until one day, well, it was not the one day, it was just the period of time when I started really thinking of it. I was like, there is no way out of here. So I basically started to think of reverse engineering the process of how did I end up there where I was. And because I think, well, if I'm going to understand that, I probably will make it out of here. And I know how to kind of reverse and change my life. So my thought process was as follows. A couple of questions I asked to myself is, how did I end up there where I was? My answer was, well, because I took wrong actions. It's quite of obvious thing. The next question was, how come did I take those actions? And why they were wrong, actually, because at least I was taking some actions, I thought. The answer was because of the wrong decisions I made. I made wrong decisions, and that led me to the wrong actions I took, and that's lead me to the life I had before. Kind of pretty logical thought process. So the obvious question was, how can I make better or different decisions? Because in order to change something, you have to do something differently, or you have to do something better, right? If you can do that. And I started to learn about the decisions, how decisions actually made, how people make decisions, and how would I build something around myself, and if it's even possible, to some kind of systems which would allow me to make better decisions or different decisions, completely different decisions. And they would keep me on track of actually doing it repeatedly again and again. And I would not let off track again and start to make those worse decisions which I made before. So I started to work on it and kind of read about it and listen to different mentors on that topic and stuff like that, and I understood that our decisions basically is being formed in our mind kind of historically. Whatever we have gone through in the past, it's forming our decisions, our experience, our presumptions, guesses, environment we are at, of course, people around us, habits, routines which we have. It's all forming basically our decisions. How we evaluate the risk, it also impacting our decisions. A lot of things I learned. I even learned this stuff. Better decisions are made in the mornings, for example. So I suggest you make your most important decisions in the morning. And it's also explained by the chemical processes happening in our mind. Serotonin, which is a chemical which helps our nerve cells to communicate with each other. We have a huge amount of it in the mornings. And it helps us to make clear risk averse, very good decisions. As we go through the day, and especially in the afternoon, we have very little of this serotonin, and our mind and our head will push us to postpone decision. Just think of yourself and try to maybe starting from today, follow yourself and see what you do with your decision during the day. At least for me, in the afternoon, it really was so. I was trying to kind of postpone those decisions. I will decide it a little later, maybe tomorrow. And usually in the mornings, those decisions come pretty easy and quick. Better decision in foreign language. That's was a surprise for me, because in foreign language, when we speak in foreign language, we put less emotions to it. Like for example, if we curse in foreign language, it looks to us it's not that bad than it would sound in our native language. The same here. If you think in different language and you try to kind of come up with a decision in different language, you might actually do better than in your native language. Being hungry is the bad decision making, and it works interesting. To eat, our mind treats the food as a reward. So the mind is waiting for the food, and now we try to make a decision. So what mind decides is, okay, so I was waiting for the food, and it was that big of a reward. Now this guy want to make decisions. Okay, so I have to make sure we make such a decision which in reward level would be higher than the food. So therefore, at this point, you will take a lot riskier decisions, because the reward of this decision should be a lot greater than your willingness to, not the willingness, but your hungriness and how bad you wanna eat. The next one is funny. Full bladder helps you make better choices. So if you wanna go pee and you hold it in, you actually can make very good decisions during that period of time. Of course, not literally. You do not need to do it for every single day and practice it. It just says that when you hold it in, you actually are in self-control. Your mind is controlling your body, and you physically control yourself at this moment. And if you're gonna try to make decisions, the mind gonna make pretty precise decisions and very good decisions actually, because you are in self-control. Too much CO2, I think it's obvious. You know, we don't have enough oxygen in our blood flow. We don't get it into our brains. Our brains are lazy, they don't want to think and making decisions. This one, I think it's big. The Jeff Bezos was talking about it as well, and he was writing the investors letter and letter to his employees. I think it was about 2018 or maybe 2019 even. He said next year we want to make better decisions, more decisions, quicker decisions, and our business is dependent on decisions. And therefore he said, I want you to make a decision when you have 70% of information to make one. And he said the outcome of such decisions, even though decisions will not be right decisions, will be a lot less painful and a lot less costly if you would not just make this decision and wait until 100% of information you have in your head. Therefore, it is a very important, I think, point. So I've learned all those things about the decision, and I start to do something, okay? But what should I change? How actually I start doing something, okay? I've learned all these things, the things are good. And then it hit me. I have to build, as I said, some kind of system around me. I call them frameworks, and we're going to have, in this presentation, I'm going to see them as frameworks. I call them frameworks, which will help me, as I said, to help me make right decisions. If I'm going to make right decisions, I'm going to take right actions. And that's what we call effectiveness. We're kind of slowly but surely getting into the topic of today's presentation. So you being effective when you have some kind of systems which make you, which helps you to make right decisions, and from those decisions you take right actions. That's the effectiveness basically. And efficiency, on the other hand, is when you already selected those actions and you know they're right, and you want to do them now. You want to do them right. And you have to have some tools again, and maybe even the systems, those same framework, different frameworks to actually do those things right. And that's where basically word efficiency comes in. Efficiency is how you're actually doing those things. And the better you do them, the less time it takes you to do them, the more efficient you are. So it became my plan, my goal, and basically my motivations, my new kind of goal to work and live through this framework, basically. Build the systems which help me make better decisions. Better decisions will make me make right actions, and from these actions I will become more effective. And then if I'm going to have some tools behind me to actually execute those actions, which basically are our initiatives, I'm going to become efficient. Okay, it was all perfect and sounds great. The same as probably sounds right now, but I don't have time to do that. That's what my mind said at the time. But I still pushed myself. I knew I could not stay at this one place, and I have to move somewhere. So I started to read books, as I said. I started to learn a lot about the things which I can implement. And the most important thing I did is I started to experiment. That's that trying thing which I told you at the very beginning. I start actually trying those things. Whatever I would find out which will help me to make those decisions, to make those right actions, choose those right actions, or to do the actions right, I start to implement in my life. And I start to be very careful about them, how I choose them. But if I would choose, I would stick to them. And I would do them every single day or every other day, wherever my plan was. But I would stick to them and I would give them a time. And step by step, I start accumulating those things, those habits, those routines, those tools which I have. And they kind of start to all come together. And that's how the puzzle was kind of starting to come up. And I start kind of get out of that hole when I was just working and not having time for anything else. So, and I still do, by the way. I still keep experimenting. It was not the one-time thing I did. It became my lifestyle. And my recent experiments, couple of months, I also put in a presentation. So we're going to go over them. I'm going to share them with you as well. And the achievement as a result today, if we kind of get to today right now, is I have enough time to run business, actually a couple of them. Have enough time to do sports like 6 days a week. I have enough time to spend with my family, and I do that a lot. I have enough time to study, around 50 hours a month. I have enough time to follow my diet and go for sport. I have like 77 kilograms for last 5 years. And I have enough money to live a good life now. I have enough energy to share with my peers. And I got finally a pretty happy man.